We are at Laker Art, and we are in 7th grade, and we are learning how to draw an eyeball today. Woo, super excited. We'll be learning how to draw an eyeball. We will be following some steps, and this is kind of similar to what we're going to be doing. I've got a really nice image of what we're going to be doing right here. Yeah, but we're going to be kind of following my steps and going over some of the anatomy of what an eyeball is and things to think about. So here's our eyeball that we're going to be working on. But before we get going with that today, just as a reminder, today is midterm. Today is April 21st. If you have not emailed me 2 photos, you should have a picture of you smiling with your assignment. So I should have something that looks like this. Oops, that was upside down. And then I should have a picture of your assignment sitting on a neutral background. So something like that, where we have nothing in the picture but the eyeball and a neutral background. Oh, and I'm just getting this dizzy. So make sure we get those handed in, get that into me, and we will go from there. The assignments that you need to have hand in is a value scale plus cylinder, a painted sea serpent, and the penciled eye, which will be due at the end of the hour. So just some things to talk about here real quick. Our eyeball looks like this. This is an eyelid. Here's an eyelid. Here's the tear duct. We have the iris, and then we have the pupil. Things I want you to note is that there is multitude of colors in the iris. Depending upon the person, they can have a lot of different colors in there. Some eyes actually look different color depending upon the lighting. The eye, there's a little thin pink membrane that goes around your eyeball, the white part, and that little thin pink membrane is an important part of the drawing. The eyelashes come off the edge of that and fall with gravity. Here, they block the view of it because they fall for gravity and then go back up. And then this big wrinkle is really important. So those are things. And then, don't forget the highlight. The highlight is a square in this picture only because they have the light is coming through on a square for them. So we are going to draw an eyeball, and our eyeball will hopefully, when we are done, when it is rendered, will look something like this. All right, welcome back on how to draw an eye. Things you're going to need a pencil. If you have a blending stump or a tortillon, that would be awesome. An eraser. I have paper towel here that I use. Don't use precious toilet paper, but that could work. I also have a brush for brushing off any nurgles. Instead of paper towel, that's where the blending stump or tortillon comes in. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to go roughly, I want it to be about that big. That's roughly the middle of my paper, and I'm going to draw a real light circle here. I'm drawing on an inverted surface, so I definitely can't see if it's perfectly round, but I'm looking just to draw. And notice I did a couple searching lines. I'm just trying to find the circle, get the right shape. Now, I'm going to note where halfway is, and then I'm going to try to divide my eyeball into, it'll look like fourths, but I want it to be equal thirds. So if I go 1, 2, it's pretty close, ballpark. I can erase out that middle. So I've kind of got equal thirds, guesstimate. Whoops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw to there with that equal third. I'm going to draw to there. I'm also going to do the same like this. Now, this is the height of the eyeball. So when I look at this eye, you'll see that that bottom third of my pupil and iris goes through there. So that's going to be where the bottom eyelid's going to be. I'm going to move it over like this, and I'm going to draw left-handed people push their pencil. Right-handed people pull their pencil. When left-handed people draw the left eye, they pull the eye. When they draw the right eye, they push the right eye. So as a left-hander, I should draw the right eye first, and then it'll be easier to copy on the left. If you are right-handed, you should draw your left eye first, and then your right eye. So we're going to show a left eye just for your benefit. All right, so I'm going to start with the tear duct, and I'm just going to draw a simple little shape like this. It's kind of, notice it's about one hand away, and it is kind of a V, and I put it right there. That's just going to represent our tear duct. Okay, now from that position, I'm going to draw a line, and if I imagined a vertical line right here, and it goes down to the bottom of my paper, this would be a 90-degree angle right here. This line going to here. So now a 45-degree angle is going to go halfway, split the difference. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to move it up to here, and I'm going to run a 45-degree angle, and it's going to go to the height of my third of my eye. Then I'm going to pick a spot between this third and halfway, and I'm going to cover part of the eye. So now I'm going to go, my line is going to go to here, and then I'm going to go to this spot, and then about 3 fingers from the edge of the paper, depending on if I'm drawing this to the same scale as mine, I'm going to draw a line that goes to that spot, and then it's going to go just a little bit beyond, about a finger or 2. The upper eyelid actually folds over, and if you look at this, you can actually see where the upper eyelid comes down and goes over, and the lower eyelid tucks underneath. So those are things that we want to be thinking about. So now I've got my upper eyelid kind of drawn. Now I'm going to draw my bottom eyelid. I'm going to start right where it met that line, and I'm going to pick a spot that's going to go just below the eye. So I have a little bit of eyelid showing, or eyeball showing, white part of my eyeball. Now, where this third is, I'm going to make an imaginary line, and where this third is, I'm going to make an imaginary line. So I'm going to draw at an angle that goes towards this until it hits that line. Then I'm going to move it so that it goes there. I'm going to do the same, follow that there. It's going to hit that line. When it hits that line, then now I'm going to draw a new line that goes to there. So I get an eye shape that kind of looks like this. It's kind of like a spaceship. If I went over here and I put another thing, now we got a spaceship. All right, so I'm going to take my eraser, and I'm going to erase out my third lines because I don't need them to guide me anymore. I can erase them here. I can erase them here. Oops, that was a mess up. And I'm going to erase them here, and I'm going to erase part of the spaceship. I'll take my brush. I'll brush those out. And from here, now, what I'm going to do is I am going to finish my eyeball. So where I had that center, I'm going to draw a circle that's equidistant. So I can start by drawing an X. And if I draw those lines the same length, I could go like this. Now I could put that line there. That one went there. Yep. Now I could draw a line that goes here. Then I could make a line that's that same equidistant as those pieces. Yep. And then now I just connect. It's a simple way to make kind of a close to an approximate circle. Now I'm going to imagine my sunlight is coming from over here. And because of that, I'm going to get a highlight. Now, if we were outside with the sun, it's going to be a circle highlight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm going to, as my former drawing instructor used to say, I'm going to blast in the value. I'm just going to turn my paper because I'm going to do a crosshatch. Notice how I'm holding my pencil. I'm going to get a little more lead out. And I'm going to crosshatch again. Notice I'm not afraid to go over the edges of my highlight a little bit. I can always erase that. I'm going to go diagonal again. That gives me 4 nice layers of color. Go one more layer of crosshatching. Go another layer of crosshatch. Now I've got my pupil in. All right, so I'm also going to take my pencil, and I'm going to start to put in that dark surface that goes around the outside of the eye. If I look at this blue eye, there's a dark value that goes around the outside. So I'm going to add that in now. As I add that in, it goes to there. All right, so now it's okay if I'm a little sloppy with that. That's all right. I'm going to take my blending stump and I'm going to what I call scumbling. I'm going to come and I'm just going to go over it in a circular motion and I pull, notice where that goes. It goes kind of up and into the area where I did not draw a circle. So that is why we scumble. It moves the lead to where you want it, and it also creates a soft edge where it stops. So I'm going to go around this. Now, if I wanted to, I could come and take my blending stump and I could make my circle a little tighter. And I could make my circle a little tighter in here. I could also bring my eraser and erase out. And my circle is there. I've got some excess, so I'm going to go like that. All right, now I'm going to draw what are like the cones and rods in the eye. And in here, I painted them as vertical or lines that go in a clockwise fashion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line at 9 o'clock and a line at 3 o'clock. I might make a little bit of a line coming out there. Then I'm going to move and I'm going to make a line at 6. And then there might be a partial line at noon. And I'm going to split the difference. Split the difference. And then I'm going to keep splitting the difference. Now I want this line to be nice and firm. I also remember that I have to put that line there. And I'm just creating some density or some thickness to my eyeballs. And then I can just keep adding. These are the cones and rods, I think. I'm guesstimating on that. I remember that kind of being a term. But they are the different areas of color that happen to your eye. So I'm going to add those in. Notice I haven't gone into that middle area. I'm going to add some more. Notice these lines go, they radiate out from the center. Now, you can always pause this video and add to it where you want. Remember I talked paper towel? I can wrap the paper towel around my finger and I can do that same scumbling. And I'm going to pull up and into and just slowly pull that up. See how the lines stay in there because I kind of made them firm. I didn't blend them as much. I'm going to really go there. All right. Now I'm going to come here and I'm going to scumble these lines and kind of go into that central area of white. Now I don't want to really get that area of white. I just, in some spots I could go over. And if I want to, I could use my eraser to pull some out. Now, I need to make this probably darker, so I'm going to bring back my pencil, and I could scumble in another layer of darkness. Woohoo, haha. The power of the dark side. All right, so now I'm going to make that line a little darker again, and I have started to add that in, and I could go over that again if I wanted. Now, I'm going to add in a little value here, and I'm just going to put one layer of hatch, and it radiates from the corner. I'm going to put a layer of hatch inside here, and then I'm going to put another, and I'm going to cross it so my tear duct gets some. And I'm going to pull a little bit out like this. So I should have, it looks like a candy wrapper, and it's been wrinkled there and there. So now I'm going to take that same piece of, or I could use my blending stump, but I can't remember if I sent those home or not. So I'm just going to scumble this out and create a soft edge. And if I did it light enough, those lines will disappear. I could bring some of that down. I could have some of it go up. I'm going to go over here, scumble in the tear duct, and then I'm going to go out towards this, and I'm going to do that same thing. Just scumble this and eliminate those lines until I get a nice shade. If I did too much, I can always bring my eraser back and I could erase out. The advantage of having something like this, which is called a kneadable eraser, is that a kneadable eraser will pull layers off and then it will add. And so then you don't get that hard line and you can almost get a smoother transition. So that's the advantage of using that. I could go over this again, smooth it out. And there we go. We have the inside of the eye rendered. Now, to finish it off, I'm going to draw that membrane, that pink membrane that was on the eye. See, it's right there. So now I'm going to draw that, but I'm not going to put it all the way across the bottom. It's a little trick that anime artists and people from Japan use in their drawing, is they don't draw that line right there. That helps to create the roundness that we're looking for. Now, that's going to be a little bit of a shadow on that. I don't want to make it super dark, but I'm just going to add a little bit that I'll go over. Top portion here is going to be the same thing, but it's going to get blocked out by, and it'll have a little more dark to it because it's going to get blocked out by our eyelashes. There we go. And then right now my eye is a little pointed, but that's okay. I can round that off. I'm going to bring that in, and there we go. I have that portion. There's even a little bit of darkness that goes right around here that I could add in for my tear duct. Now, this is going to get, it's kind of a lighter layer. It's got a lot of moisture on it, so it's a little lighter. But above that now is this whole eyelid. So I'm going to draw in my eyelid. It's going to be thinner here. It's going to rise up, and it's going to follow the surface of the top of my eye. And it's going to come down, and it's going to go down. And over here, sometimes it'll even form a curve over here. But I'm going to bring it all the way, and it'll get thicker, and it's got a lot of darkness to it. So I'm going to add some of that darkness to it now. Now, below my eye is going to get a little bit of what we call bags underneath your eyes, and there's going to be just a little bit. Now, remember, the more lines you make, the older the person becomes in the drawing. So you want to keep it to a minimum, so you don't want to add a lot of lines. I'm going to erase this out. Now, before I put in my eyelashes, I'm building up to that point. They're the part that sticks out the most. I'm going to add a light layer of pencil right along, so my graphite goes there. And then I'm going to add a little bit on this side, but I'm going to leave a channel of white or paper showing through because that's going to be my highlight. You have to think of this as a shape like this, and if the sun was here and it was shining, the valleys don't get, they're shaded. And then as it goes up, it gets lighter and lighter. Shaded, and then there's an area that's going to be white. So that's what we're creating right there. This is fabric and skin folds 101. Now, over here, it's going to be a little darker because this is where my nose blocks out the sun. So I'm going to add in blast in a little bit of color here, a little value. And then up here is where my eyelash is going to be. So I could draw an eyelash up there. I'm going to put in a little value here. And I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to wrap it around my finger. And I'm going to start to scumble this so that it gets a nice even tone. I'm going to do the same over here. And I scumble that up. And this is where the color would be if someone added eyeshadow or like the woman of my dreams, she puts blue up there to accentuate the blue of her eyes. So I'm going to come down here, go like this. And now I'm just going to add in my eyelashes. And so what's going to happen is they're going to start here, but they're going to be, most eyelashes are dark. So I'm going to go up to here, and I'm not going to go further than here. Less is more. I'm going to bring an eyelash down, and then I'm going to start grouping them closer together. And maybe they'll get bigger here. They'll come and they'll start to go over this part right here. Oh, and I just broke my pencil lead. Started weightlifting again. Getting too strong. You can never be strong. Too strong. And I just keep adding those. Now, notice I didn't put any over here. I don't need to. I could darken that. I could maybe, if you wanted, you could put one or two. But Over here now, that's going to come off this bottom layer, and I'm going to again do less is more, but notice how they curve differently. The bottom eyelid seems to have less, so I don't put as many in. And then the last thing I do is I sign it. And there it is, my completed how to draw an eyeball for 7th grade Laker art. Remember to pause this video at any time.